This video's topic is a tough subject. Over the past couple of years, many of us have lost friends, family, and neighbors, people we loved and cared about. I know I did. So I choose this tragically evergreen topic with grief and acceptance in mind. We all experience loss. People in our lives have died. People we loved, and people who affected us for good and for naught. When we communicate our experiences and feelings in stories, memoirs, and poetry, we're communicating the tragic beauty of living with an inevitable end. In this video, I want to share ways to think and write about death. For many of our stories, our characters will lose someone they love or have lost someone. Death can be a tragedy, even a source of comedy, but it's never not a disruption to our characters' lives. When a character dies, some people, like family members and best friends, will feel the brunt of that hurricane, the eye of the hurricane. But even those on the edge, a character's neighbor or classmate, will feel something change in their lives. When someone a character knows and cares about dies, a sense of completeness in their life disappears. When writing, it's important to reckon with death as something personal for a character. Our characters, just like us, will act differently in proximity to death. In one way, this proximity can set forth a tragic story, how someone young and vibrant faced their end. In another way, death can empower life in living fully. When we communicate death, we really communicate life in living. How we lived, how we accept the hard choices we made, or what we wished we had done. Too often, we think of money as the main resource in our lives, but time is a really important resource. Time is always limited. Death or proximity to death can reset a character's way of thinking about how they use their time so they complete their life based on the priorities. A character can evaluate or consider what ending they want for their story. Consider this writing idea. Write about how a character resets in the face of death. How does someone change their life to better complete it? How we communicate death also relates to how we reckon with our meaningful relationships. Death affects a character in how they reconfigure their relationship, even a complicated one, with its end. On the one hand, death serves as the narrative closure in a life and a relationship. On the other hand, death can prevent closure because someone doesn't get to have the final goodbye, or because a relationship conflict was never resolved. Consider this writing idea. Write an idea on paper about how a character's difficult relationship resolved itself through the death of another. Or write out an idea about how a character's difficult relationship was left unresolved because the other person died before reuniting. Finally, I want to wrap up this discussion by saying we as writers need to communicate the completeness of life. That completeness refers to the completeness of tragedy and beauty in life. We also need to write the completeness and nuance of experiences, whether in emotive expressions or the spectrum of tangled feelings around the disruption of death. Emotive expression for someone about to die or who loses their loved one isn't just crying. It should be a spectrum of the joy in having one last moment or one last joke, tenderness at a final connection, or acceptance and peace of a full life completed.